The movie begins on the sunny hillside of Casa del Toro, Spain. Bulls are fighting, testing their strength to see who is the strongest among them. And this is where we meet Ferdinand. This young bull isn't much of a fighter. He's caring, with a deep love for flowers. He starts the day off watering his plant, and after doing so, enjoys a large whiff of its scent, clearly fascinated. The bull calves hear a truck arriving and rush over. It means the strongest bull will be picked to face the matador. Valiente, one of the young bulls, clowns Ferdinand, confidently saying his father will be chosen. He brags that one day he'll become the fiercest bull the world has ever seen. But the other calves have the same dream. Guapo shows off his charming looks, and Bones boasts about his thundering speed. Brave doesn't like this and pushes Bones to show dominance, knocking over the wheelbarrow, protecting Ferdinand's flower, and nearly stepping on it. Ferdinand quickly stands over the flower to shield it. When Brave notices, he threatens to stomp on it to provoke Ferdinand into fighting, but Ferdinand refuses and simply sits guard. Suddenly, the adult bulls charge out of the barn to compete for the chance to face the matador, grabbing the attention of all the calves. Ferdinand wishes his dad good luck before he heads into the ring. An intense battle breaks out between Ferdinand's father and Valiente's. They go head-to-head, trying to prove who's strongest. With one last charge, Ferdinand's father wins and is selected. Before leaving, he's given time to say goodbye. Ferdinand doesn't want him to go and expresses that his dream isn't to fight the matador. His father reassures him, saying he'll change his mind when he grows up and promises to return after the fight. But when the calf returns to the others, Valiente cruelly crushes Ferdinand's flower in spite of his father's loss. Days pass. Ferdinand waits and waits for his father to return, until one night he hears a truck arrive. He races out to greet him, only to find the truck empty. Valiente's father delivers the painful truth. Ferdinand's dad didn't make it. Devastated, the young bull panics and decides to run away. Farm workers try to stop him, but Ferdinand is too fast. He escapes and arrives at a train yard. When humans spot him, he makes a leap of faith onto an open train carriage just as it begins to move. Sometime later, the calf exits the train and wanders alone through a forest. He's suddenly spooked by barking dogs, slips down a hill, and injures himself. When he wakes, he's in a barn. A kind young girl named Nina enters and comforts the scared little bull. She's wearing a flower and promises to take care of him. Nina introduces Ferdinand to the green outdoors. He's in awe of the bright colors, wide open spaces, and the wonderful smell of flowers. The two grow inseparable over the years, playing, helping with chores, dancing, and becoming best friends. Ferdinand grows into a full-sized adult bull, but he's still gentle and loving. One morning, he's excited. Today is the Flower Festival, his favorite day of the year. He tells the dog Paco, who tries to warn him about something, but Ferdinand is too excited and doesn't listen. Just before they leave, Nina's father gently tells her that Ferdinand can't come. He's grown too big. Nina is upset, but hugs Ferdinand tightly as she leaves. Confused, Ferdinand sets a few silly tests for himself, like if an orange doesn't fall from a tree, he'll stay home. But it falls. Still, he convinces himself to go. At the festival, Ferdinand is overjoyed. He strolls through town sniffing flowers. People, however, are terrified by the sight of a massive bull calmly wandering around. Trying to cheer up a crying baby, he disguises himself as a balloon and makes funny faces. He spots Nina and tries to reach her, but gets tangled in a clothesline. In the chaos, he steps on a bee and gets stung. In pain, he panics and charges around blindly, sending the town into panic. He accidentally hooks onto a baby stroller, sending the baby flying. Luckily, it gets caught in a string of flowers, and Ferdinand makes a desperate leap to catch it midair. He saves the baby and finally calms down, just in time for Paco to warn him that the police and animal control are coming. Ferdinand runs and hides in a china shop. He tiptoes around trying not to break anything, but the shopkeeper mistakes his tail for a feather duster. She ends up sneezing on him, which sends her flying out a window, exposing Ferdinand's location. He's captured. Nina screams for him, but it's too late. A worker contacts Mr. Moreno, the owner of Casa del Toro, telling him they've found the escaped bull. In a heartbreaking moment, Ferdinand and Nina lock eyes, knowing they're about to be separated. Ferdinand is transported back to Casa del Toro. The journey takes days through small towns and highways until finally, he's back where it all started. Mr. Moreno is impressed by how big Ferdinand has become. When Ferdinand realizes where he is, he panics and breaks out of the van, squashing a goat in the process. That goat is Lupe, a calming goat who isn't very calming at all. She misunderstands Ferdinand's intentions and thinks he wants her to be his trainer. Lupe introduces him to the other bulls, and some are impressed by his size. Then Valiente shows up. Valiente tries to intimidate him, but Ferdinand stays calm. Valiente declares he'll beat him in a duel to impress the matador. That night, Ferdinand can't sleep. He misses his home. Later, three sneaky hedgehogs, Uno, Dos, and Cuatro, they're unsure what happened to Tres, try to steal his food. Lupe wakes up and yells at them, but Ferdinand lets them go. They thank him and climb out the window. Later that night, Ferdinand tries to escape, but gets shocked by a high-voltage fence. Three nearby horses mock him for even trying. They warn him if he tries again, they'll alert the humans. The next morning, Lupe overhears workers saying El Primero, the most famous matador, is coming to pick a bull for his final fight. Excited, she bursts into the barn screaming his name, waking everyone up, and getting thrown into a wall when she steps on Ferdinand's tail. El Primero arrives at Casa del Toro in a flashy sports car, demanding to see the best bull in all of Mexico. Mr. Moreno lines up the bulls, who each puff up their chests to impress the famous matador. But Ferdinand? Still not interested. Lupe gives him a crash course in fighting, trying to hype him up, but Ferdinand stands firm. Fighting just isn't who he is. Lupe brushes him off, already picturing his face in the history books. Mr. Moreno surprises everyone by announcing that Ferdinand will be the first to enter the ring. The other bulls mock him, and Guapo gets so nervous he throws up into Lupe's bucket. Inside the arena, the stage is set. El Primero takes his seat. Ferdinand refuses to go out until Valiente jabs him hard enough to make him charge through the gate. What follows is pure chaos. All the bulls rush in, trying to show off and win El Primero's attention. In the middle of it all, Ferdinand notices a worker who's accidentally trapped in the ring. McKinnon, the bizarre, unhinged bull, charges toward the helpless man. Bones tries to face off against Valiente, but gets easily overpowered. Lupe yells from the sidelines, trying to help Ferdinand stay focused. But he's not in fight mode, he's distracted. Valiente challenges Ferdinand again, but before he can react, Guapo steps in and gets knocked out cold. Ferdinand tries to help, which triggers a massive bull pileup in the ring. El Primero watches in disappointment, then storms off. He tells Mr. Moreno that if he doesn't find a worthy bull in 2 days, no bull from Casa del Toro will ever fight again. Back at the stable, the bulls are furious. They blame Ferdinand for ruining their one shot. Valiente mocks him again, calling him the same weak little calf he's always been. That's when Ferdinand finally says it out loud. He doesn't want to fight. At all. Then the unthinkable happens. A truck pulls in. Guapo is being taken away. The bulls cheer at first, thinking he's been chosen by El Primero, until they realize he's headed for the chop house. Bones is horrified and blames Valiente. But Valiente shrugs it off. You're either a fighter, or you're meat. That night, Ferdinand sits in silence, missing home. Bones joins him and quietly admits he's crying, not because he's scared, but because he misses Guapo. Ferdinand comforts him. A bond starts to form. Still, Bones warns him. If he doesn't fight, he might be next. Morning breaks, and the bulls are up bright and early, training even harder to impress El Primero. But Ferdinand can't stop thinking about what happened to Guapo. Lupe reminds him that there's only a day left to get selected, and El Primero is watching. As they talk, Ferdinand notices a bull named Angus, who can't see very well, about to stomp over a small bunny while charging toward a barrel. Acting fast, Ferdinand saves the bunny, knocking Angus off his feet and flinging himself dramatically into a water tanker. After saving the bunny, Angus vents about how he's doomed to end up in the chop shop because of his bad eyesight. While he spirals into a panic, Ferdinand gently licks back the hair covering Angus's eyes, allowing him to see clearly for the first time. Energized by his renewed vision, Angus successfully charges at the barrel. He's amazed by the sunrise, his first time really seeing it, and he and Ferdinand sit together to enjoy the moment. Later, Lupe pulls Ferdinand aside and confronts him about helping his competition. She tells him bullfighting is like dancing, and the three snobby horses over here, mocking the bulls for thinking they can dance. Eager to prove them wrong, Ferdinand puts on a masterful display, impressing everyone. The horses respond with their own flashy moves, and a full-on dance battle breaks out. Angus joins in with a Scottish flair, and Bones adds some wild breakdancing. The three bulls unite for one final routine, and just when it couldn't get any weirder, McKinnon jumps in, shocking everyone with his strange moves and throwing off the horses' rhythm. The horses end up bickering, ruining their performance, and an electric shock zaps them out of the competition. The bulls celebrate their win, but Valiente kills the mood, reminding them that if they don't get serious about fighting, they'll all end up in the chop house. He boldly declares that tomorrow he will be leaving on the winner's truck. Lupe admits Valiente has a point, but Ferdinand refuses to go down that path. Instead, he wants to stage a breakout, promising Lupe a peaceful life at his home with his family. She agrees, and they go to the hedgehogs for help. With some bribing, the hedgehogs agree and reveal that the only way out is through the house. They unlock the barn door, and Ferdinand squeezes through a small window, setting off El Primero's car alarm. Workers rush in, but the hedgehogs distract them by dancing to the alarm's beat. Inside the house, Ferdinand finds a picture of his dad and reminisces. But then he sees the wall of horns, a chilling reminder of bulls who died in the ring. He can't let that happen to his friends. Back at the barn, Ferdinand wakes everyone and shows them a bullhorn to prove what's really going on. Valiente refuses, calling Ferdinand soft like his father. A fierce fight breaks out, and Ferdinand overpowers Valiente, breaking his horn. Unbeknownst to them, El Primero has been watching the whole time and is impressed. He chooses Ferdinand as the bull he'll fight. Valiente is carted off to the chop shop. Lupe begs Ferdinand to escape now, but he refuses to leave unless all the bulls, even Valiente, are free. There's just one problem. The horses might alert the humans. So the hedgehogs come up with a plan to lure them into the stables and trap them. With the horses handled, McKinnon chomps through the electric fence. While the bulls reinforce the doors, Ferdinand heads into the slaughterhouse alone to rescue Valiente. He finds him, but Valiente has given up, ashamed of his broken horn. Then they hear Guapo screaming. Ferdinand rushes in to help, but accidentally activates the machinery. As Guapo is pulled toward the meat grinder, Ferdinand tries and fails to save him, until Valiente returns, saving Guapo in the nick of time. The ride doesn't stop there. The three bulls are pulled through a freezer, turned into ice cubes, and launched out the garbage disposal, crashing straight into the winner's truck. The noise alerts the humans, and the bulls make a run for it. Everyone jumps into the van. Lupe and the hedgehogs drive, and the bulls pack into the trailer. As they make their escape, they nearly hit the little pink bunny again, causing an emergency stop. Ferdinand hops out to rescue him one more time. Meanwhile, McKinnon uses his electric powers to zap the bunny awake, and the animals hit the highway. With the humans still in pursuit, the hedgehogs pull off a clever trick, trapping a human's hand in the window and flipping their car with a sneaky ramp move. They finally reach Madrid, but traffic brings them to a halt, giving the ranch owner time to catch up. Ferdinand spots a train station sign, and the animals storm through the city, causing chaos as they go. The humans are closing in, and the animals get trapped between trains. One of the hedgehogs climbs up and spots their train leaving. They improvise by pushing a train cart with all their might, jumping on one by one. Ferdinand, the last to jump, stops. He turns around and faces the humans, sacrificing himself so his friends can escape. The moment is emotional. Ferdinand is captured, the footage makes the news, and Nina's father sees it. He rushes to tell her. Ferdinand is transported to the Madrid Bull Arena for the final showdown. El Primero suits up, preparing for his last fight, paying respect to the matadors before him. Below the stadium, Lupe gives Ferdinand a few final words. The doors open, and Ferdinand steps into the light, giving her a final smile as she's shut out. Across town, Nina and her dad are driving as fast as they can. In the arena, El Primero enters to roaring applause and steps into the ring. The gates open. Ferdinand walks into the arena. The crowd falls silent. The two enemies face each other. El Primero taunts him. Ferdinand doesn't want to fight. More helpers enter and circle him. They stab him with a sharp prod, triggering his rage. He charges and accidentally disarms El Primero, making a fool of him in front of the crowd. Now furious, ℭ𝐿 grabs two sharp swords and goes on the attack. Meanwhile, Nina finally arrives at the stadium. Inside, ℭ𝐿 lands a hit, wounding Ferdinand's leg. Ferdinand gets angry and pins ℭ𝐿 with his horns. But then, he sees a rose on the ground. It calms him. He smells it and is transported back to peaceful memories of the farm. ℭ𝐿, seizing the moment, approaches with a sword, but Ferdinand backs down. The crowd is silent until someone starts chanting to let him live. The whole audience joins in. ℭ𝐿 walks off. Nina runs into the ring and hugs Ferdinand. Roses rain down. Soon the other bulls arrive. They've all found a new home. Nina hugs Lupe. The bulls enjoy the peace. And as the sun sets by the tree, Ferdinand finally gets what he always wanted: a home, friends, and peace. Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out our other videos and subscribe for more magical adventures. See you next time.